Hey guys, it's your favorite attorney, PhD, whatever you want to call it, Ronnie Rice back in the building. Um, Thank you guys for staying with me through my ups and downs and yada yada yada. So we come back to you on the YouTube channel. Follow me, Get Rice Now, all my social media platforms. So you just Google my name, Ronnie Rice, PhD Esquire. You always shoot me a text 205-222-9815. So with that being said, let's get into it. So you guys that have been following me for over the years know that I pretty much talk about, when it comes to the legal side of business, what I get calls for. So the latest calls I've been getting for now is cars, automotives, whether it's buying a crappy car, whether it's, going to a dealership or a repair shop and getting, crappy service. What are my laws? Okay, so generally speaking, when it comes to limit law, those typically apply to new cars. Why, as you probably can imagine, is once you start putting miles on the car, it's hard to start gauging, okay, what is the malfunction? Was it caused because there was true malfunction with the car, or was it something that driver drove off a cliff and then put some duct tape under under the engine and tied the tire to it or something? So that's kind of the if you think about it from a fundamental standpoint, why the limit laws are what they are. Now, when it comes to used cars, you got used cars, as you know, they come with warranty. You got used cars that don't come with warranty. Used cars come with warranty. You want to take a close look at those warranties, because they usually are either backed by a dealership or they're backed by a third party. So you got some dealerships, some makes and models, or some different car manufacturing companies, excuse me, that will do a what do you call a 60-point inspection, right? You heard those 60-point inspections before they put the car in warranty, stuff like that. So some of those things have claim of flame that say, hey, they're checking the engine oil, rotors, things of that nature. So you want to look at, okay, is this warranty with the dealership? Is this warranty with a third party company? Typically, we have high miles on the vehicle. That's when you get to a third party company. And typically what happens is, if it's with the dealership, you have more coverage. When you start going to a third party, you have less of a coverage. All right. So with that being said, here's another level of purchasing a vehicle as is. Okay. Man, I can't tell you how many times I get people called with the as is non-warranty, essentially. This is specifically in the state of Alabama. It doesn't mean that you kind of SOL, but it makes it difficult. So basically, anybody that's in any business, now we're talking about outside the scope of just cars, any business has a duty to provide a certain level of product to the marketplace, to the general consumer. Like, you just can't, all right, the car's been wrecked, salvaged, yada, yada, yada. Don't disclose that to the buyer, yada, yada, yada. And then charge somebody, $40,000 for a car that is only worth $5,000. So you have that claim that you can make in regards to their dealership. So don't think that you don't have a claim. But most of the time, I tell anybody, if you're buying a vehicle, a couple things that you want to do. You want to automatically, let me get the Carfax. Get the actual copy of the Carfax. Make sure that VIN number matches on that Carfax report that's on that vehicle, and get it in your hand. Take a picture of it, scan it to you, give it to your mama, give it to your dad, give it to your sister, give copies to everybody. So if something were to happen, you can say, hey, guys, you said that, this car has never been in an accident. This is the Carfax that you gave me. Obviously, this Carfax is wrong, or you try to sell it off as another car, yada, yada, yada. And that's typically what happens. Most dealerships, what they do is they flash a Carfax to you, and they bring it back and don't give you a copy, okay? So that's another way we can just hedge a whole bunch of stuff off on the front end. Second thing that you can do is take your car, take your car to your own mechanic. Now, most mechanics gonna charge you $150, $250 to do a full inspection. But that $150, $250 is going to save you on the end. It's going to save you a gross amount of money on the tail end and a whole bunch of legal fees. I have been successful on a lot of these claims. The ones that I have been successful on have been, ones the warranty, one where there's just such a huge difference in what the car dealership was selling to the client, and basically trying to pressure the client into buying a car, and they just know it. I mean, basically just pressuring it, like, the client's like, hey, or the customer is saying, hey, I want to take this car to have my mechanic looking at it. So, well, the price is only good for 30 minutes, stuff like that. When you see that kind of activity going on. But if you ask me, because I get a lot of clients who just ask me, well, should I or should I not get a used car? The answer to the question is, it depends on you. I'm a lawyer. Everything depends. And also, it all depends on billing by the hour. That's just an inside joke. Means that lawyers who bill by hours, which is, I'm one of those lawyers that bill by the hour, the longer I can stretch this conversation, the more money the firm makes. I'm just joking. I do a lot. All my consultations are free, by the way. So anybody who's watching this, they just have a question about a car purchase. To answer the question, should you buy a new or used car? That's up to you. It's a financial decision. I tell you, I advise anybody to go to the accountant and figure out based on how much money you made, if you have a business, things of that sort. The 6,000 pound rule, right? If you got a car that's over 6,000 pounds, you get to write a certain amount of it off in a certain amount of time. Once again, you need to. Let me start over. You have to, if you have a 6,000 pound car, you get to write a certain amount of that vehicle off in a certain period of time. But once again, that's something that you need to check with your accounting for. I can help you with that. That also depends on state tax laws as well. You have the federal law, but also you have the different tax law. But generally speaking, when you buy a new car, you're going to pay that new car price. What that means is, typically that's once you drive the car off the dealership parking lot, there's probably a 20%, 25% drop in the value of that car automatically. But what you're really paying for, and I tell people this all the time, I buy new cars. What you're paying for is that automatic assurance that this car is what it is. Like, I'm not gonna have to fight with this dealership. I'm not gonna have to fight with, them putting sawdust in my engine, which, might be telling my age. Back in the day, they used to put sawdust in the engine to make the engine run smoother until the buyers bought the car and got off the car lot. And then next thing you know, the engine locked up on them, like, 2 days later. Fun fact. Yeah, I'm old. I know, whatever. I watch Knight Rider, so I confess, I watch Chuck Norris, whatever. I'm old, okay, whatever. So when you buy that new car, it's a guarantee. This is your guarantee. Hey, this car, when I press that button, it's gonna start. And if it doesn't, I know for a fact that it has something to do with what the dealership did or the manufacturer. But then the second thing is, to answer the question, which is why I say it depends on whether you should buy a new car or used car, is, hey, I have to pay that new price, sticker price. But now, usually you're buying it secondhand, and you do not know what the previous owner has did with that vehicle. You might have, some vehicles where somebody has kept in the garage for, 10 years and only put 5,000 miles on it. Like some people I know, put 5,000 miles on it and haven't touched it. And you're like, those are the golden cars, right? Those are the golden Oreo cookies. Double stuff, by the way. But more oftentimes than not, I've seen, with these dealerships, if they're not a reputable one, and you kind of can tell if it's a reputable one if they look at the reviews, automatically look at the reviews. You kind of can tell where you're going with that. That you're gonna have some trouble. You can see overspray on the paint overspray where they're trying to take over the repaint something that's been messed up on the car. You can see they say when you driving it and it hit a certain speed and the car starts doing this, all that kind of jazz. So all that plays a part too in your legal claim. So if you go to buy a car and it is shaking, or you do see the overspray, or you see the smell of water in the car. A lot of people, one thing that you might get from a lot of people don't like to buy cars from up north. Why? Because up north it snows a lot, and what do people up north put on their roads to get rid of the snow? Salt. And what happens with cars? Salt. Salt on cars do not mix. So a lot of people do not like to buy up front. But also people don't like to buy from down south, your Florida area. Why? Hurricanes. It floods a lot. And so you have a lot of flood damage. So you have to know a lot of, you kind of have to use those kind of intuitive decision makings when you talk about buying a vehicle. And also when it comes to your legal claim. I know all this seems like, okay, what does it have to do with anything? I always tell people, whenever I take on a case, I always prep it for a case, for a lawsuit. I'll look at if I had to do it with a bench trial or with a jury trial, and I'll put put all my evidence on the table and say, okay, hey, judge, my client, paid $30,000 for a vehicle that was really worth $4,000. Your Honor, he test drove it. He took a mechanic that, yada, yada, yada. Or my client spent $30,000 on this vehicle in good faith, thinking that, hey, I will at least get a decent amount of use on this car. Not that it, drove for 30 minutes and the car blew up. Those certain laws that protect you from that. So I know I hit you guys with a lot. Professor Rice, ironically, I have taught college courses, and man, it's a lot of work. So hats off to my professors. Just to recap this video for those who are watching, what to do to, when you buy or you think you bought a limit, or how to protect yourself from buying a limit or buying a bad car. One, buy new. Two, and even with those, let me clarify that, even with the new cars, you will have an issue with recalls, things of that nature. So look at your JD Power Social Magazine, things of that nature. Your top 5 to 10 cars kind of, do this all, over the years. This car is doing well this year, and then this car is doing as well. So the top 10 cars kind of the same. Take your car to mechanic, get a Carfax, know what you're buying, and also always feel free to consult a lawyer. I do free consultations. So I'm Ronnie Rice, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Man, just go to sleep this video. Put it on repeat. Just go to sleep with this video and let it just keep playing so I get these views up. Like, share, comment. By the way, big shout out to my good friend Gary, who does all my editing, and he puts with all my shenanigans. And Isaiah for just being him. I don't know why I'm thinking him. I just don't know why. I like him sometimes. But follow me on social media. Get Rice Now, GETRICENOW. Log in on my blog, getricenow.com. I do write blogs once a week. For those who like to read. If you have any legal questions, or you just want to book me for public speaking, or just somebody to talk to, call, shoot me a text, 205-222-9815. You guys have a blessed day.